DIY here. So I was driving home last Thursday and my 2002 Nissan Pathfinder, which has been pretty nice to me, sprung a coolant leak. All of a sudden I saw smoke coming out from the hood, so I pulled over and found it was leaking, unfortunately, from a very difficult spot. It's kind of hard to see, but if you look down between these two new shiny clamps right there, there's a little section of hose. It's 1 3/8 inch hose that connects the pipe that goes to the top of the radiator with this pipe on the left. It goes behind the engine and around the other side, as well as there's another hose here that connects the radiator, the heater core. So this is what the old hose looked like. It wasn't too hard to get off. Well, it was pretty difficult to get off, but once I got it off, I realized there's no way I'm going to be able to get the new hose on with the pipe in place. So I had to take the whole pipe out. So I'm just going to show you real quick what I did, save you some time. For one, they didn't have this hose at the store. Now I live in Guam, so maybe, you know, if you're in the States, they might have it, but it is the same size as the top of radiator hose. So I just bought one of these. It was $17, which is kind of crazy, but I just cut off the section that I needed, and it was the same inside diameter. Like I said, I think it was 1 3/8 inch inside diameter. So anyway, it was pretty difficult just to get this pipe bracket off, which this is the pipe that the hose connected to. First things first, I removed the battery. So I took the battery out to give myself more room. There's a bracket here where all the electrical is harnessed into. There's 3 bolts that hold that bracket down. So I took those off. I also disconnected, there's an electrical switch here. There's a hose that connects to the top here. There's a screw that held this in place. Took all those off. There's 2 hoses on the pipe. Looks like it's for the AC. I took those off. There was a blue clip that was here, electrical clip. That got taken off. I'm not sure. Oh, there it is. It's out of the way. So that blue clip came off. The tricky part, though. Oh, I also loosened the brake fluid reservoir. I loosened that up to give myself more room. The tricky part was, if you look, there's 2 bolts that hold this pipe in place. Like I said, one is up here, very easy to get to. The other one, you can kind of see right there, it bolts into probably the block. This is very difficult to get to. What I had to do was the heat shield. I had to loosen or take out the screws. You can see one of them there. There's 3 screws I took out. And then once I loosened the heat shield, I was able to get a socket on there. I think it was either 10 or 12 mil. Mostly everything is 10 and 12 mil. So that bolt was kind of difficult to get out. And once I got it out, I said, you know what, I'm not putting that back in. So that's what it looks like right there. Which I'm glad I didn't put it back in, because the first time I put it back together, it started leaking again. I did put the bolts for the heat shield back together. So anyway, the reason I took the whole pipe out is the first time when I tried to do it, I couldn't get a good seal. Put everything back together and it was still leaking from that same spot down there. So what I ended up doing was pulling the whole pipe out. I disconnected this hose right here. I disconnected it up here where it connects to the heater core. There was a battery ground right here that I disconnected. And then there was another hose coming off the bottom. Another radiator hose right there that I disconnected. So once I got all those off and everything that I mentioned before, I was able to pull the pipe out and I replaced the goofy clamps that it came with. It had these style clamps on there, which were pretty ineffective, so I bought some just your standard hose clamps that you probably see. So yep, now I'm putting it back together. So again, I think the easiest way to do this is probably go ahead and pull that whole pipe out, and loosen everything up around it to give yourself more room. If you have any questions, just post them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.